We will put out a comprehensive platform, as I say, Canada's first digital platform tomorrow. We will put those ideas against the ideas of the opposition, which I must say are, in many ways, are chilling to me. It will chill investment across this province. It will cost thousands and thousands of jobs across the province, but that's the choice that people will face. And the really critical thing is for everyone to vote on May the 12th.
Over the past number of months, you've said you've come out against personal partisan attacks. You've said that this is not going to be a campaign of personal partisan attacks, and yet some of your own members have launched such personal attacks. Kevin Falcon, for example, comparing Carol James to Sarah Palin. What do you make of those kind of statements?
I think that what people want from all of us today is they want to hear how we are going to deal with the serious problems we confront in a serious way. I believe this is a time for us to prudently manage our government resources, to focus them on health care and education and children in need and those issues that are really critical, I think, to the quality of life for British Columbians. I think we have to lay out a comprehensive economic plan that provides for confidence in the investment community. You know, again, when I see the plan that was put out by the opposition on Thursday, it is, the best you could say is it's going to chill investment and it's going to cost thousands of jobs. One estimate is 60,000 jobs for their environmental strategy alone, 50,000 jobs for their small business strategy. It will cost countless jobs in the energy industry. I think this is, it's a time for people to look seriously at these issues, look at people's experience. I mean, the fact is, Ms. James doesn't have a lot of business experience. She clearly doesn't understand a lot of the challenges that businesses and communities face across the province, but that's up to people to decide. I intend to lay out a comprehensive platform, and we're going to run on that.
But are you trying to scare voters? I mean, you're talking about progress being lost, tough times, things getting worse. You're talking about the NDP platform as being something that's chilling to investment. But chilling is a fairly strong word. Are you trying to scare them at the same time you're calling for a positive campaign?
No, I think that you have to look at what the results of their policies will be. And I think, again, we've got an opposition strategy and platform that's out there that's adding $1 billion in costs to the private sector economy right now. It's going to add $1 billion in costs over the next 3 years. It's going to, for example, in the oil and gas industry, that industry alone has generated $2.6 billion in economic support for healthcare and education last year. Right now it's facing difficult times like all other industrial sectors are. Very low gas prices, very low oil prices. That is not a time where most people in the economy would say add $400 million to their costs. That's a way to protect jobs. There's no one in small business that right now is saying to you, if we could just have $450 million more added to our cost base, that's going to protect jobs in British Columbia. Those things are jobs. The economy ends up being people's jobs. It's the job that they depend on to pay their mortgage, to pay for their rent, their food, for their kids. And I think we have to recognize what the impacts of those kinds of policies are.
So should voters be afraid?
I think voters should look at the facts. I think they should look at our record of performance and what we lay out as our plan for the future. Look at the NDP's plan, which they say will take BC back. And I'm saying I think people are going to want to go to the future.
Has this focus on economy, has it put the environment in second place now?
No, I think that's a very important question. When you look at the world today, I think one of the biggest challenges for us is to recognize it's not unidimensional. In fact, the environment is directly linked to the economy. The hundreds of millions and up to more than $1 billion that we've actually had to put into the pine beetle restoration to try and make sure that people have jobs, that we can have a long-term sustainable economy, is directly related to the environment. The floods that people have went through, the forest fires that we've seen in the province are directly related to the environment. The new opportunities in clean environment, in bioenergy, are all related to the economy. So the environment, the economy, excellent health care, superb education, they're all interrelated. It's not one or the other, it's all of them working together, and that's why comprehensive platforms are important.
The NDP cut the carbon tax platform seems to disappoint a lot of people concerned with the environment and climate change. What do you plan on doing to rally these people under the Liberal banner?
Well, I think British Columbians actually want us to deal with these issues. I think they recognize that they're difficult issues to deal with. You all know that the carbon levy is actually revenue neutral. The 44% reduction in small business income tax that we had last year was funded by the carbon levy. The 5% acceleration of personal income tax reductions last year was funded by the carbon levy. The fact that we had the lowest business corporate taxes coming in by 2010-11 will be funded by the carbon levy. The new homeowner, northern and rural homeowner benefit will be funded by the carbon levy. All of that is meant to help us build a bridge to a cleaner, healthier economic future. And there's huge opportunities that are created in bioenergy. There's huge opportunities that are created in clean energy if we're willing to reach out and take advantage of them. And again, the opposition's approach seems to be, let's oppose everything. In fact, imposing independent power production, which is providing us with clean power, which creates over 1,000 jobs in rural British Columbia today and has potential to create thousands of more in the future, I don't understand that either as an economic strategy or as an environmental strategy.
It's incomprehensible to me that this is the second election in a row with a big question mark hanging over criminal charges relating to a big political issue that's 6-7 years old now. What do you make of that? How can we be running so long into this thing without questions being answered?
Well, you know, I said from the outset, as I've said to you all along, I answered lots of questions about the BC Rail lease agreement prior to the last election, before going to court. While it's in court, I'm not in a position where I can do that. As uncomfortable as it may be for me, I'm not in a position where I can do that and protect the integrity of the courts. I'm glad to answer any questions that people may want to ask after it's through the courts. But the courts, you know, we've all said we wanted this to be done properly, we wanted it to run its course, and that's what I intend to let it do.
Premier, 4 years ago, Premier.
Oh, sorry, I've got a question over here. Yeah.
Premier, will Patrick Kinsella have any role in the campaign, including in the back rooms or raising money for the Liberals?
I don't know whether I don't believe he has any role that I'm aware of in the campaign, except for I'm sure he's a supporter.
Would he be welcome if he wanted to do
I think
some
that
work for you?
I think our campaign team is set. We're ready to go. I can tell you this: I welcome everyone in British Columbia who supports our party. I think it's important for people to know that they're all invited to be part of the public process. But Mr. Kinsella is not part of the campaign team.
Premier, 4 years ago at your victory party, 2005 victory party, it felt a little bit like a wake because you had lost 30-odd members that day. I'm wondering, some people would talk about your campaign, they called it a bubble campaign, that sort of thing. This time you don't have that kind of cushion. How is your campaign this time going to be different from last time?
Well, I expect to go around the province. One of the differences is the media is not evidently going to show up as much as they did the last time. But you know, I'm going to all parts of the province. I'll meet with people all over the province. I'll talk about our plan. I'll talk about what I think we have to do. You know, I do think, you know, just personally, I think this is probably the most important election that I've ever faced when I had the opportunity to vote. Because I do think it's about deciding the future, not just for the province, in many ways for the country, and certainly for our kids and our grandkids. And I want to be able to look at my grandkids in the eye and say to them, when I had the chance, I did everything I could to make sure you lived in a province that was healthy, as clean, as the one that I grew up in. That means we got to make some tough choices. I think British Columbians are used to rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. I think they know that you can't take the things we've got for granted, and they're willing to work for their kids and their grandkids.
Continuing on that theme,
Last
will
question.
you commit to debating your NDP opponent in Vancouver Point Grey?
I'm going to be running a province-wide campaign, as I'm sure the opposition leader will. I think that's it's not unusual. There will be opportunities for debates there. I probably will not have an opportunity to meet in Point Grey explicitly for a debate.